Greetings once again, Taekwondo family, and welcome to Miami Minutes. Woo! The show that sits patiently, waiting to be asked, where is the content? It's here! It's now! I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And I also had an intro prepared that was based around the where's the money line. But, that's the only line of dialogue in the minute, so...
And you know what? It's such a good minute. We don't need any more lines of dialogue.
Is it? I mean, of all the minutes in Miami Connection, I would put it on the lower end.
I'm trying to keep the viewers, I almost called them, the listeners, interested, Niall.
Oh, the things that are going to happen in this minute.
Oh, you won't believe the roller coaster we're going to take you on this week. No, to be honest, this week we are talking about minute 6, and not a lot goes on. I'm sure it's still going to be fun to discuss, but let's see what we can delve into. The minute starts with insanely loud bike ninjas, and it ends with some creaky floorboards and a creaky bag.
Yeah, not only insanely loud, but bright. and like taking up the entire goddamn road. At least you'd think they'd disperse individually into like go off in different directions, but no, let's have a blockade of ninjas tearing away from a giant crime scene.
It's almost like the makers of this, whether it was Kim or what's his face, the other director. It's almost like they didn't really either know what a ninja was, or they couldn't decide, like, are they fighting a biker gang or are they fighting ninjas in this movie? And there was, like, a conflict, and they just mashed them together.
You imagine, like, an entire night of debate, and the two, like, sitting, like, the sleeves rolled up, the air is foggy from all the cigarettes they've been smoking, and then eventually they're like, wait a minute, just, like, melding the two things together.
It should be a third party comes in and goes, guys, I've got the solution. And he just writes it on a blackboard. Bike ninjas. And walks out of the room silently.
Yeah. Does the James Cameron thing too of turning the S into a dollar sign as he walks away.
This movie can't lose.
Yeah. That's the thing that could Jim Cameron, not to date the podcast, but he's begun his hype train for Avatar 2 by aggressively coming out and, like, kind of bullying people into, like, no, you're all idiots if you don't like the first one. It made $1 billion, and of course you care about Avatar. You're definitely going to come see this one, and you can shut up if you say you don't know who the characters are or you don't remember anything about the first one.
I mean, I watched it recently, like about 2 years ago, and I know Sully. Is it Sully? Jake Sully, that's it. See,
Jake Sully.
And everyone else, I just go, Giovanni Ribisi. I don't know his character. Sigourney Weaver. Yeah. So this bullying thing, it's a bold strategy, Cotton.
But to be fair, again, I'm gonna play both sides because I don't know what way this is gonna work out. But still, it's the guy who made Terminator 2, who made Titanic, who made the first Avatar, which is still the highest grossing film. So it could be that he's like, if he's coming out going like, this thing will knock your socks off, I'm going to be like, all right, let's see it, Jim. Let's see what you've done.
Well, I think I'm in the weird sort of place where people who love it want to see it. People who hate it want to see it. So to hate it more, Whereas I thought the first one, it was fine. It was okay. Like, I didn't dislike it. It was enjoyable. I don't ever want to see more of it.
Well, the thing I did see the trailer before Thor 4 More Thor the other week. And the thing is, like, it's visually, it looks great. Like, it looks like, oh man, that's a nice looking piece of scenery. But it also had the vibe of, like, that's a lovely screensaver. Yeah. Like, what a magnificent screensaver that would be.
Not a motion picture.
It was like, do you want to see the story attached to the screensaver? Not particularly, no. Like, I don't really care.
I just want to luxuriate in its presence.
But I would happily sit and look at this, like, a motion picture of just this scenery for a while. But
okay, that's my pitch for a movie, Niall. Screensaver, the movie.
Hey, they did the Emoji Movie. It couldn't possibly be worse.
They did the Battleships movie.
Yeah. And they made a Miami Connection movie as well.
What?
Original concept, not based on any prior material. I will say that I alluded to it last minute. Were you confused by this as well? I think the edit is weird because I thought this was like another group of bikers. It took me a while to realize, oh, that's the ninjas fleeing. Like, I thought this was now another party has shown up to this fight. Because I think maybe in my mind, I can't connect the fact that they're ninja bikers.
No, it's so strange. And maybe they could have done it like the drug dealers were bikers, so the ninjas kill them and steal their bikes to get away. But that's not what happened.
That would be a good insult to injury, though.
Yeah,
like they're proud. They're a proud like Sons of Anarchy-esque biker gang. And then, so the salt on the wound is like, they stole the goddamn bikes after it as well.
That would work.
You couldn't even
right?
bury the bodies with the bikes or whatever the hell they do.
Yeah. Whereas, like, we saw them arrive on bikes, though, so they're their bikes. And the edit's also strange when we then cut to the other scene, because when it cuts to the other scene, I didn't realize this is supposed to be the same gang at first. When I first watched it.
Neither did I. I thought they were like the backup ninjas who were like there waiting in case they were needed or something. And then after a while, I was like, oh no, this is the same guys we saw fighting the whole time.
Yeah,
okay.
This is just, they got back, they've had a shower, they've changed.
Will say though, in the name of research, I was thinking about like, because you have biker gangs, and I was thinking like, oh, Hell's Angels, etc., etc.
Oh, so you watched biker gang porn? Okay.
I guess, yep. The highest rated thing on Pornhub this month was, of course, Biker Gang. Biker Gangs from Mars. Maybe that's, oh man, they had a bit of Miami Connection, Biker Mice from Mars crossover. Oh.
At the very least in comic form, come on.
Yeah. Well, maybe that could be our Patreon. We'll review every episode of Biker Mice from Mars. It's like, I'm going to keep constantly, like making checks my butt can't cash.
Please, listeners, if any of these sound good, let us know and recruit your friends, because if we get enough money, we'll do them.
Yeah, totally. But I did look into the first ever biker gang. Funny enough, not the Hells Angels. Well, I assume like the Hells Angels, like they're the granddaddy of the biker gangs. Apparently not.
I'm always torn, like, because obviously we only hear about Hells Angels, really. So I'm always thinking, are they really rough, tough bikers, or is it like an image thing? I don't know. I'm not dissing any Hells Angels if you're listening. I don't know the answer to this question.
I think it's the big legacy, of course, is Altamont, the Rolling Stones concert where they were employed as security and actively killed people. So
that was a while ago now, though.
I think looking into the two biker gangs, I'm surprised that they're worldwide. There's Hells Angels in England.
Oh, right, okay.
And like in like Ecuador and places like this. It's like, oh, they're all over the place.
They franchised it out. Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's inter-rivalry then. Like the American ones are like, those UK pussies.
Oh, well, just you wait, John.
Okay.
Because there is the first ever biker gang was an evolution from a bicycle gang. The first ever motorcycle club was Yonkers MC.
Oh, I've always loved the name of that place, Yonkers. It's hilarious to me, an Englishman.
It really sounds like this is a joke name, though. Like, not in an offensive way. I would love to be able to say, yeah, I'm from Yonkers. Like, it's so fun to say.
It's great, isn't it? I love it.
Yeah, but Yonkers MC from 1903. It was an evolution of the Yonkers Bicycle Club, which was founded in 1879. But the thing is, they're like, that's the thing looking into it. Because I don't like biker gangs in general.
Well, no, because they're usually criminals and violent.
They're usually criminals, and there's always, because the bikes are always so loud and obnoxious, and they're just always trying to show off. And it's just, I just find the whole thing a bit obnoxious. But the thing is, though, I was looking in, apparently there are official, sanctioned, government-approved motorcycle clubs. What? And then there are, like, the Hells Angels, which are not officially sanctioned in any way, shape, or form. And I was kind of like, who would I hate more? Like, the official sanction, the guys who think they're hard, and they've got, like, the tattoos and the leather waistcoat on, and they got, the bandanas around their head, but they'll go in and they'll fill out the forms and stuff like that. Or do at least have a little bit more respect for the guys who are like, the hell with that. I'm not signing a goddamn thing.
No, the latter. You can't be a cool, rough, tough biker if you're sanctioned by the government. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way.
But the thing is, so then you have they're that, and they were doing things like, they'd be hired by the government to, back in 1903 to ferry messages. They're basically like carrier pigeons, where like, oh yeah, we need to get this word or send some documents to, a senator over here. So we'll hire the motorbike gang to go and do that for us. Oh. And it's just like, they're lame as well. Like they're bootlickers, basically.
Maybe they got sick of that.
No, the thing is then, we get then later on, when some bikers, they get fed up with this, bootlicking bullcrap, and we get the first official outlaw motorbike club, which is called the Outlaws Motorcycle Club.
Original name.
Yeah, and you can tell they must be the first because they're like, well, that's how you find us. We're the Outlaw Motorbike Club. It's like, well, it's going to be like 60 in a couple of years, guys. So. You might want to rethink that, but no, they're still going to this day. Founded in 1935 in the town of what was it? They were founded in Matilda's Bar in McCook, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
Very specific. They can track this down to it's like the Munich Putsch or something. They can tell you exactly the pub it happened in and everything. God damn it.
And the book they wrote while behind bars.
Yeah. And also like too because McCook, Illinois is like so Irish as well.
McCook.
The weirdest thing I've discovered online was I've still not gonna, if I ever met her, if I ever had any kind of a Q&A scenario or like an Instagram AMA or something like that, I'd have to get in like, what the hell happened there? Where, because my dad's into motorbikes, but not in a motorbike club way. He's just into like racing motorbikes.
Exactly the same with my dad. Yeah. Like racing bikes, like Kawasaki's and things, is it?
Yeah. And he always gets into bike season when it happens, and then he calls you up to tell you like 5 people died. Oh, it's terrible, isn't it? Anyway, looking forward to going to next week's race. For Christ's sake, stop supporting this thing. People are dying all the time.
That's terrible.
But I remember looking up something on YouTube about motorbikes in Northern Ireland forum, discovered there was a YouTube series called like The Clandestine about Northern Irish motorbike racers. But they were like a Hells Angels bike gang. But it starred Squirrel Girl, Milana Weintraub, who's like an American actress, the AT&T girl. I think she's known in America. It was my choice for Poison Ivy.
Yeah, I remember you saying about that. Oh.
Yeah, but it's weird because she's in it. She's like one of the main characters, but she's American. I was like, what happened in her life where she went over to Northern Ireland in the early 2010s to film a low-budget YouTube comedy skit thing where she was just the sexy biker lady? And everyone else, no one went on to be like in, Fair City or anything of note. They're just all amateur actors. It's such a bizarre little oddity. Like, oh yeah, Milana Weintraub is in this Northern Irish Sons of Anarchy ripoff that was exclusive to YouTube, and not even in like a YouTube Premium or YouTube Red way where they actually made their own content. Like a bunch of guys just filmed this amateur video series.
Well, was she a thing yet at that time? She wouldn't be, would she?
I don't think she's not even really a thing now. Like she's always just bubbling under. She's still only most people. She's still just known for the AT&T ads. So.
Did she maybe go to university there, and that's why she was in someone she knew like show they were making?
Could be. Again, if ever the opportunity should pop up on Instagram, where she's like, "All right, ask me anything," I'll be like, "What the hell's the deal with that? Why did you make that?"
She was like, "What? Someone's seen it?"
Yeah. And I only found out about it because I was looking up motorbike Northern Irish things for my dad. So, but anyway, so the Outlaws Motorcycle Club, founded in 1935, and then by like the 60s, because they were basically a Sons of Anarchy, like going around robbing things, attacking people, all this kind of thing. They're banned in the 60s by the American Motorcycle Association.
No, I'm sure they care.
And then around this time, the Hells Angels are a thing, and of course they don't like each other because they have to be rivals because they're different people, I guess.
Yeah, even though logic would say maybe you should maybe not work together, but if you tolerate each other, it'll help you both.
Yeah, but apparently there's been inter-gang wars. This is all stuff I imagine probably Sons of Anarchy is based on. I've never watched Sons of Anarchy. I only kind of know the gist.
Same.
But I imagine it probably is based on, like, the inter-gang wars, where, like, they were looking for... The way it's phrased on the website is, like, they're attempted to seize control of the borders of Canada and Mexico.
Oh.
So that's ambitious. They're going for both ends of the spectrum of the U.S. There's gang wars for the motorbike gangs to have control over that territory.
I like the way, in my mind, I'm thinking not just over the other gangs, but over the government. They're going to form like a weird outlaw little island, a bit like pirates used to do.
I think that is the thing. I think they truly believe they're outlaws. And the thing, they have the motto. They have two mottos. One is God forgives, outlaws don't.
Oh, that's so cheesy. There's a wrestler with one with a phrase almost exactly like that. Who is it? Oh, that'll come back to me. That's so cheesy.
And their other one is they just apparently just drop in the conversation adios, which is an abbreviation for angels die in outlaw states, which is to indicate that they will kill any Hell's Angels they come across.
Well, that's a bit vague since adios is a word.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what else that first one reminded me of? It's just dawned on me. The Machete trailer.
Ah.
When Cheech Marin shows up, you know, he's a father of the cloth, but he pulls a shotgun on one of the bad guys, and he's like, "Father, please," and he answers to him. He goes, "God has mercy, I don't," and shoots him with the shotgun. I mean, to be fair, isn't that God will judge the guy.
I imagine like Cheech and Danny Trejo and stuff probably had it. They're almost definitely familiar with these gangs.
Yeah.
At least by like they probably know somebody who knows somebody who's in them, because they're like massive memberships as well. Like currently, the Outlaws Motorcycle Club has 3,000 members worldwide, which is not that big, but considering it's like a motorbike gang, like of just, you know, assholes driving around revving engines in people's faces and stuff.
But maybe they like to keep it exclusive. Whereas the Hells Angels seem like, in my mind, it seems like they may be spread out a bit more. But I don't know, because I've also heard the rumor that you can't ask to join the Hells Angels; they have to ask you to join.
I imagine that probably is the case. Yeah. And they because otherwise you'll have all sorts of pricks coming in trying to prove how tough they are. But if we just go like, no, we're going to find you, you can thin out the ranks a bit more. Make sure you're getting the pristine, the best of the best.
I mean, I think it's a good idea, because if that wasn't the case, if they just had a website form, as a joke, I would go and sign up after recording this episode.
Well, that's the thing as well. Because they make themselves like, oh, these hard-ass, cool biker guys. And then you find out they've got an official website. And it's really like a website, you know, your dad would make. And it's just very lame looking.
It's still on GeoCities.
And the even worse than, you see the logo. And it's like, you know, typical, it's like, you know, a skull or crossbones. But it's like, you know, the bones or pistons or whatever. But it's really lame looking. Like, the skull looks like Mr. Skullhead from Animaniacs. Like, it's not like a really beautifully painted, hardcore-looking skull. It's just like a child could have drawn that. Like, it's making me think of Good Idea, Bad Idea from Animaniacs every time I see it. I was like, that's so simple and so, like, you know, there's no effort. And you're, like, the premier motorbike gang worldwide, and that's your logo? Come on. Although now saying that, they might be listening to this, and then we're going to get they're outlaws. They might petrol bomb the house on a drive-by or some sort.
We're not pretending to be tough, you know. We're not tough like bikers by any means. I'm terrified of bikes, so don't worry. We're not making fun of you. We're just we're being picky. Oh, hang on. Update. I have found the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club, Liverpool.
Oh, wow.
Hold on.
Find out. Oh, the president lives next door, apparently.
Oh, and they're still posting on their Instagram. 2 days ago is the most recent post.
Ooh. Okay.
One of them looks like John Goodman.
I mean, that's what I would hope they look like, to be honest. And there's a guy there who's not like, if there's someone who's there who's like under 150 pounds, I'm going to be devastated. Like,
yeah, you want big beefy boys, don't you?
Yeah, you want all tattoos, you want the beards, you want the bandanas. Like, look the part, man. You know.
Oh, this is
you want
good.
Some dweeby little like twig getting on a motorbike. what the hell's that?
They've gone to visit here. They've gone on a day out to visit the statue here in England, the Angel of the North.
Oh, wow!
Which is quite fitting. American listeners, if you don't know what that is, go and Google it. The Angel of the North. It's a very cool statue. I like it.
The band have put like in the hashtags like Hell's Angel of the North or something. If they haven't, I mean, I'm very disappointed.
No, they haven't put even a caption.
Oh, come on, guys.
It's a very badly cropped photo as well.
Ugh. Although I almost kind of support that more, though, because I don't want the Hells Angels or any outlaw gangs to have a good media presence.
Yeah.
Like, they should be like either completely underground or not know what they're doing on there because they're too busy being tough biker guys. Come on.
Yeah, like we'll post every now and then, but we don't really care about this shit.
We're gonna hire like a PR guy or something. It's like, we'll make sure that everyone, we'll get your little brother or something who's not old enough to ride a bike yet. Like, he can go and post whatever we're doing.
I absolutely love it. Oh, here, June 13th, they appear to be visiting a strip club. Okay.
Oh.
That's exactly what I want them to do. That's.
Was it X in the City? Liverpool's premier? I understand it's Liverpool's premier strip club. I wouldn't know myself.
They have not included a caption again.
Oh, my God. Well, I guess maybe fair enough. They're trying to keep it on the DL, but...
well, here there's also a picture of their headquarters, and they have the logo of the skull and stuff outside on a plaque. So we can try and find it. We can try and locate them, Niall.
Well, that's the thing. They had the thing about like the Outlaws motorcycle club, where they're like, oh yeah, no one knows who's the membership is. It's all very secretive. And then you go on the Wikipedia, and it tells you like, well, it's believed that this guy's the best. Like, great job, guys.
great keeping your secrets group together.
Listen, go on then, keep your secrets. But because again, Gandalf riding alongside them with Frodo, the bikes going past them. Go on, keep your secrets. But that's they've had major incidents in recent history in the UK, where like August 12th, 2007, Hell's Angel Jerry Tobin was living in Mottingham, London. He was shot dead on the motorway.
Whoa!
Returning from the Bulldog Bash Festival.
Oh, that's a cool name. I bet there were loads of Oi bands at that.
Oh, you better believe it. It was definitely sponsored by Carling as well. You can tell.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and then apparently he was just singled out at random by members of the outlaw gang. They just shot him when they saw him. And then 2008, 7 members of the Warwickshire chapter were convicted of his murder and then sentenced to life imprisonment. And then in 2008, there was a brawl between up to 30 of rival clubs at Birmingham National Airport.
What?
Police recovered various weapons, including knuckle dusters, hammers, and a meat cleaver at the airport. It's like, I don't know. This is pre-Captain America Civil War, so it's not like, it's a great place to have a big fight. The airport.
That is wild.
Yeah. Yeah, and so these gangs are active not just in America, but are on our own doorstep, John.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I'm very shocked. I'll be honest. I didn't even know it was in the UK. This has opened my eyes to. I mean, I assumed we had motorbike gangs, but I didn't think we had the big two.
Yeah, and that they're around. How are we to tell there's not ninja motorbike gangs roaming our streets constantly?
Oh, because we'd never see them coming till it was too late.
Well, unless they're part of this motorcycle gang.
Unless it's the dead of night and they've got their high beams on.
The high-vis jackets and everything. We gotta be safe,
Safety first. Safety first.
But yeah, get back to the minute. There's this odd cut to where I also felt like, oh, this must be the same, or this must be different ninjas ready to go out later or something. And then it's made very obvious because they're sitting around and the white ninja, Storm Shadow, comes back in and I didn't know whether this is... I know why it is the way it is in the movie, because it's just the way they shot it, and they didn't think. But the fact that he's not got a drop of blood on him, he's not got a bit of dirt. None of them do. They're all pristine looking.
I know, I would have maybe... I know he's white to identify him, but I maybe would have added some kind of a... I don't know, he gets a bloody handprint on him, like The Force Awakens or something,
my thinking as well. But then I was kind of thinking, like, well, maybe they keep him pristine to indicate he's that good.
Oh.
That he goes out in, like, bright white ninja outfit, and he doesn't get a drop of blood on him. He's such an expert at what he does.
That's a good point. He's so efficient. Look, he hasn't even got mud.
Yeah, he somehow crawled through the mud, and the mud was scared of him or something. It didn't get. But then, if you're going to do it that way, have the other guys be scuffed up then, so they look like, oh, they're the lesser ninjas. They're like the guys who, through sheer physics, because that would happen, they are bruised, and they are a bit like, they got drops of blood, and they've got mud all over them and stuff. And then it's the same ninja we just saw fighting instead of some other assholes who are sitting around in pristine uniforms, as if they just washed them just now.
Then again, maybe he did change when he got home, because there is like a hierarchy here. Clearly, the white ninjas are the bosses. The black ones are lower down the chain. The black amusingly, the black ninjas seem to have quite a few white guys, as you said. Not all of them. I mean, there's also a few sort of Korean guys and stuff here, but maybe, the white guys are like, well, they're not as good. Just put them in the rank and file.
I do love the first establishing shot at 10 seconds of this very rigid sitting they've got going on.
Oh, yes, very proper.
And then at the end, there's a statue of a dog. And I was kind of like, is the dog one of the ninjas too? Because it also kind of looks like it's stood to attention.
It's actually a dog that's just learning how to sit like they do, yeah.
Yeah, they had to cut out an entire plot line of YK Kim having to track down and fight this dog because it had information about the Ninja Clan.
That's the big twist.
Yeah. But yeah, so you got, establishing shots. There's weird stuff. I kind of took it to be like maybe they're sitting down to a meal or something. Because there's a bunch of stuff on the floor in front of them. And like but I'm not too sure what it is. Like, it looks like there's at least 2 lamps there, but they don't match.
Yeah. I think it's just kind of like, it's just a meeting. I don't know. But maybe they have like some tea. But I can't see them having food and stuff. I think they're sat waiting for him to come in. Like it's a process, a bit like school when you do your school assembly. Everybody get ready, and you'll sit down and wait.
That was this is because at the end, like it looked this little white thing I thought was a salt and pepper shaker or something. I was like, maybe that was and then when the main ninja comes in, one of those noodle boxes is at the end, so it could be like, oh, we're eating tonight, guys.
Yeah, they've been waiting that long. It's like, well, I wanted some noodles.
It's like, you forgot the money, but you did get the cocaine, and more importantly, the noodles.
Yeah, some of them were noodle boxes.
Stocked up while we were there.
Clever, smart move. I would have done the same thing.
But there's so many about there's like a little block of wood, and then there's a thing that look next to it look a little bit like a wheel of cheese. I'm like, well, maybe this is dinner they're sitting down to. But
what is that?
So you go out, you have your attack the mafia, come back, have your noodles and cheese.
I get where you're coming from, but I picture that the leaders would not eat with these people. Like they'll have to go off and sit in their like barracks. Maybe there isn't even probably a dining hall.
Yeah,
so you get a bowl of rice, and that's it. You sit you sit on your cot and eat your rice.
Yeah.
Which is always funny when you see that in these movies, because it's like, well, what are these people getting out of this gang then?
Yeah. Plus, even too, if you're trying to keep your army, fighting fit, you got to give them nutrients as well. You have to feed them well.
It's one of the most important things. Feed your army well.
Yeah. What do they say? Like an army fights on the stomach and stuff like this. It's like, you need your guys to be in pristine health. So you gotta give them nutritious meals.
Well, why do you think? I don't know. I don't think he personally did, but I believe Napoleon. He was the first to employ canned food, so they could go off on, long sort of journeys for battle and have food ready with them.
Yeah. He was, of course, sponsored by Heinz as well. So not a lot to do with a lot of corporate sponsorship going there. That's why. If you look on his hat and those paintings, you can actually see a few little sponsorship stickers. Napoleon hat.
That's a true fact. Yeah.
There was Heinz up there. He had we call the tire place.
Michelin.
Michelin.
He was a big fan of ramen noodles.
Yeah, why not? You know? But yeah, so I'm not too sure whether to say it this minute, because we are introduced to our ostensibly kind of the main villain.
Yeah.
I don't know if we ever hear his name in the movie, though. He is credited. The character does have a name, but I'm not too sure whether to say it now or.
Yeah, I guess, because I've done. I was going to say I've done research, but I literally just saw the character name and the actor name.
Yeah, to be fair, that's kind of all the research you can do.
What's his only credit?
Yeah,
I tried to find anything else because he stood out a little bit more. Not just because he's the boss, but he seemed to have a little something going for him. But he didn't do any more movies.
I think he actually, there's a lot of bad actors in this movie. I don't think this guy's one of them. Like, no. I can see why he was cast as, it's Yashito, I believe the character is called. Mm-hmm. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce the actor's name, but it's S-I space capital Y, yo. So,
yeah, it's
C-I-O?
No, it's like, I think the Y is short. It's usually young. So I think he's like Seong Jo.
Okay. All right. Let's call him Yashito, just for security purposes.
Yeah, but, well, especially because I don't know a lot about Korean names. So I don't know which name they like you to use. Because some places it's like, well, you don't use the first name. Like in Japan, you often use someone's, what we call surname. You'd use that first, things like that. I don't know how Korea does that, so I don't want to get it wrong and say C, and that's not his name.
Yeah. But yeah, so he reveals his face. He comes in very slow. It's the first 30 seconds of the minute. They're basically them sitting there, him coming in, going past his Jenga tower that he's made there. Which I understand, maybe this is why the guy's in charge, well, I made that tower. I mean, look at it. It's beautiful. But
that's how they determine the boss. You want to be the new boss? Make a better tower.
Yeah. That's actually YK Kim himself made that tower too. That's what he's Grandmaster of. It's actually Jenga, but they just don't. He just just call him Grandmaster. Don't question what he's Grandmaster of course. But,
the Tower of Power.
Yeah. But that's the thing. So sits down and it's he looks the part. He has got a kind of dangerous air about him, and then when he asks where's the money, his eyebrow does a little pop too. It's this guy, he's not a bad actor. I kind of get he does appear to be. I'd be scared of him if he was my boss.
He's going for it. Yeah, he's putting some effort in, and I love the way he says that. I mean, I'm not going to obviously do the accent. I'm not making fun of him, but he's like, where's the money? The money!
Yeah.
It's great.
He slams the table. I was like, the Jenga tower, man. It could fall at any second. Don't tempt it.
Careful. Although I did notice when he does that, there's a continuity error.
Ooh, maybe because the Jenga tower fell and YK Kim's oh god damn it.
That might be what it is.
5 hours later, well, we got it going again. Okay, we can.
It's because he. It's actually just before he slams. Actually, no, yeah, it's second 20. So it's as it goes from second 29 to 30. The covering he's wearing before he removes it, it's got a big flap at the front. But when he raises his arms to remove it, the flap is round the back without him having moved it himself. Oh, look, this movie's crap.
What's in it? Plot hole? That would be plot hole. Should also say, though, one actual egregious, what the hell thing that really did distract me in this minute is in the sound. Because the music's finally fading away. And then at the end, mid-minute, there's this big crash sound. Yeah. And I thought, for a while, when I was making my notes, that this was I must have a YouTube video playing in the background or something, because that's related to nothing on screen. And then also I was muting stuff, I was trying to find out, and I was like, no, it's just a really weird, I don't know if it's the end of the track. The guy threw in a thunderbolt sound or something. It's very, very strange. For a while, I was thinking was the download we have it mixed up, and this is it skipped the audio forward, and this is a different scene it's playing at. It took me a couple of seconds to adjust to oh no, that's supposed to be there.
Yeah. All I can think is, I mean, earlier before he comes in sort of properly, there is a sort of. there's like a thundery noise. Is it raining now? Because it wasn't a minute ago. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's meant to be thunder.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like it's stormy out. Like, it could be that maybe there's supposed to be a storm outside.
Yeah, but there literally wasn't minutes ago. But then I suppose, I have sort of lived abroad and stuff in countries where suddenly it can rain. But is Miami like that? I don't know.
I'm afraid to maybe he has legitimately come in and washed and stuff. They've been there a while.
Yeah.
This is like an hour later or whatever. But I think it's either that. It's clearly just there to like, this is his, bum, bum, bum. Like when Darth Vader's first introduced in A New Hope, they have to give the sting to introduce, this is the guy. So it's, there's that. It's either the signal there's a storm outside, maybe the chef in the next room who's cooking the noodles has spilled a lot of pots and pans or something that got caught in the microphone, or literally the keyboard player was finishing up the track and his keyboard fell off the stand or something and made this giant crashing sound.
No, I like that it's the chef thing. Like maybe one of them's like, I don't want noodles, I want chowder. He's like, no, it's chowder.
But so from weird crash sound, then go to where's the money? I don't know how much, because I know this is all bleeds into the next minute. The answer of where the money is. But I thought this, I guess maybe he just wants to keep these people in terror, because him asking where's the money, they might just be like, oh, we saw you take it. Like, you got the money, so you have it? Like, I don't...
That's an excellent point. Unless that was a different guy in white. Oh, maybe that's his underlip. But you don't see another guy in white in the whole movie, do you?
No. I mean, that would be fair enough if it was set up that, like, they didn't know he was going to be there. And then they went in, and he's like, I don't, this is part of a training mission, so I have to be there to observe. And it was made apparent that, like, they went there, they got the cocaine, they stole all the cocaine along with their lives, and then they left the money, and he's like, oh, for God's sake. Like,
I had to get it.
Yeah, and he's like, you all failed the mission because the most important thing was to get it. Maybe that is the intent. It does not, because we saw the guy just there fighting with the rest of them. He was, there was no indication that he was being more secretive than the other ninjas. So it just comes across a bit weird of him going like, well, what about the money? And they'll be like, you got the money. Like,
oh yeah.
We could have went over to get it and then we saw you lifting it already. It's like, we don't know how did he go in and instantly get it? Like, we might have, some guys might have come to get the money after he already had it. And we're like, okay, someone took the money already. Like, what do you want from us?
And he just like goes, very good. That was a test. Well remembered.
I like your moxie, ninjas. You're hired.
I'm upgrading you from black to grey.
Yeah, you're now Gandalf the Grey.
I suppose white comes after grey. Where does brown fit into this?
Do you know all the belts of the karate belts? Like,
well, it depends on what martial art you're doing. This is the problem. They're all different. Like, it's the same sort of colors generally, but they mean different things. Like in the martial arts my dad used to do, I remember he got to brown belt, which was one before black. But in other things, brown might be a starter one. Yeah. So they're doing Taekwondo. Well, actually, are these guys doing Taekwondo? What do these guys do? Because the guy's got a Korean name in real life, but Yashito is a Japanese name. And they use katanas, and they're ninjas. Are they Japanese?
I would assume that it all seems very Japanese to me, but then I'm not an expert in these things.
It's like a Japanese building, I would suggest as well. So let's go with karate belts. Now, of course, belts are a very modern creation in the grand scheme of martial arts. It's the way to standardize it and make it kind of like a sport and thing. 'Cause in the old days, you didn't get different colored belts. Your teacher just taught you new shit when you were ready to learn new shit, But in the system, right?
System.
In a way, you have chosen the system. Right. Oh, there's different systems. Okay. But generally, you start with white, which is Mukyu no Kyu, which is that's the beginner belt, no progress, because it is innocence and purity.
Ah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And then it's orange, which is 10Q. And that's the first one you get following an exam. And it points out a student has made great initial progress. Oh, isn't that lovely? But you also have to learn Kyokushinaki, the dojo etiquette, and the process of properly folding your gi. If you can't fold your gi, you can't get your orange belt. This is very Japanese.
I appreciate the discipline involved.
That's what they're all about. I'm not going to read all of it, but I mean, then you get orange with a black dash, then you get blue with a dash, yellow with a dash, green with a dash, brown with a dash, and then black. And then that black keeps going.
None more black.
Yeah, you get none more black. Yeah, it keeps going. Then you'll be black. First dan, second dan, third dan. Like you just keep going up the dan sort of list. So you got Shodan, Nidan. Technically, the third one is called Sensei. Strangely.
Oh.
That's interesting. To get to Sensei though. Yeah, that's a long progress. Looking at the... Oh, yeah, it would take a long time to work this out. There's a very complicated system, but basically it's going to be half your life.
Hey, Johnny Lawrence can do it, you know. To be fair, he didn't seem like he had much else going on.
Well, that's the thing.
30 odd years,
this is again by modern standards. Like when I was going to do a kung fu class here, Hungar Kung Fu, I couldn't in the end because I couldn't wear contact lenses. I tried for about 4 hours at the opticians. But basically, it was teaching you, to start with, you always learn in Hungar horse stance, which is your legs are really wide and you're low. Because the idea is you can't be knocked down. You're strong like a tree, kind of, or like a horse. And it said, like, you know, your first lesson, you might stand in horse stance for like half an hour, which is a long time. Because try it, right? I'll show you how it goes. After 5 seconds, you're in agony. It's horrible. But apparently it's like, oh yeah, sometimes, you know, back in ancient times, you would never learn anything like for years. You would just stand in horse stance for like 3 years. Because you had the time.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays, everything has to be sped up. People don't have that time. Unless you're doing that as your life, and that's all you're doing, you know.
That would be great, though, if you thought that was like, oh, so easy. You just stand around. It's amazing. But I'm doing fantastic.
It's the hardest bit. It's horrible.
Yeah. But, I mean, these guys, you know, they've got the aura of failure about them now, these ninjas, even though they did successfully do everything they were supposed to have done. And also, I mean, for all they knew, the guy was going to get the money himself. Like, I mean, he didn't specifically... I'm choosing to believe either they didn't know he was there to do that, or this is just like a asshole guy in charge has to be like, keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's, you know, what have you done for me lately? Kind of thing. You know?
It's got to be, because they were pretty successful. They didn't really have like a large amount of casualties or anything. They got everything they wanted, bar a couple of boxes of Coke, I guess.
Yeah. They created that Miami connection. Mm-hmm. That was the ultimate goal, and now Miami is connected to the rest of the movie. Whoa. Somehow, you know. But it's there.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then so he says, you know, well, what about the money? And then final seconds are another ninja bringing in. It was a very unimpressive looking brown satchel. Now you see it. You kind of, I think other movies have spoiled us to be like, it should be like a friggin' metal suitcase. You snap open and it's just friggin' wads of bills and stuff.
It contains Yashito's soul.
I mean, why not? You know, they can afford a light bulb to put in there. But yeah, just so it looks like, oh, that could be like, you know, friggin'. They open it up as it's got some like college papers and an apple in there or something. It doesn't look very
like Alan Partridge in that episode where he's pretending he's got loads of work to do. He's a high level business guy there, and he ends up accidentally popping his briefcase open and just like a couple of blank pieces of paper and a pen fall out.
Yeah, or Lionel Hutz like, oh, it's full of shredded newspaper.
Sometimes I do that. I put stuff in my backpack that I don't need just to sort of pad it out a bit.
We did. We covered on. It was on the Patreon, wasn't it? Or was it one of the main feed hiatus episodes when we did Falling Down?
Yeah.
You found out then that like Michael Douglas hasn't even been going to work this whole time. He's been unemployed for ages. But he goes out with his briefcase, and all that's in it is this really sad-looking saran-wrapped sandwich that his mum made him, and an apple. And it's just like, oh, it's so sad, man. Like it's.
Well, if you want to hear that, people, sign up for the Patreon.
Yeah, it was a good episode. Good episode on a good movie as well. It was really like we really went to task with Falling Down and came out the other end like you'd think this would be a horribly dated film, but it's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
so.
When people take the time to understand what it's about, anyway.
But yeah, so that's Sad Satchel approaches, and that's kind of. I mean, that's me. I'm noted out for this minute. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I am, except for the drinking game. But as you can maybe imagine, no, we do not get to drink anything today. Nada. Zilch. Considering these episodes come out on the weekend, that means you're not allowed to drink tonight at all. You can't go and party with your friends.
I was like, "Are you gonna hit the club tonight?" No, I couldn't have my pre-buzz. I couldn't pre-game it with the Miami.
Yeah,
Minutes,
imagine you get a phone call like, "Oh, come out to the club tonight." Nah, I mean, the podcast says I can't.
Or you go out like you don't get to have any drinks before you go out, and you're just stone cold sober, having a terrible, terrible time while everyone's like wasted around you.
We will permit you to have one Coca-Cola.
Last week you would have had 6 shots or whatever, or 6 entire beers if you wanted, and you would have come out and made a complete fool of yourself in the club. You've been too goddamn hammered to get anything done. So consider this the refractory week to recover from that previous minute.
So it's a week later, but you might still be hungover.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're over 33, then that is just the way of things now, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't ever stop being hungover. It just compounds.
You think, 4 beers, what's that to anybody? And then the next Wednesday, you're like, how the hell am I still feeling this? This is awful.
Oh, aging. Oh, if only we were ninjas, we'd be in peak physical condition. We could maybe have a beer or two.
Oh, maybe that's why they forgot the money. It's like, well, they did have some sake like 5 nights ago, and like that's these guys are all 35, so it's just messed around with them too much.
You don't want to mix. You've got the sake flowing, you're cracking open the Asahi super dry. Bad mix.
Yeah, but speaking of previous weeks, I'm looking forward to next week because next week, baby.
Oh,
we get our first notes of dragon sound. Not to get into spoilers, but oh man, I'm so looking forward to being able to talk about the proper music of this film.
And let me tell you, no spoilers, but I think you're gonna get to drink. But we will be off once again. We will. I can't think of a funny pun for this one. I quoted Batman last time. What? There's nothing amusing we can say.
Where's the outro? Where's the outro?
Where's the outro? I don't know now. Leave me alone. But no, do join us again next week for minute 7. And speak to us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of that. Just look up Miami Minutes. And why not go over to the Sleepy Charlie Media Tea Public and buy some merchandise. Buy a t-shirt. Buy a mug. Buy a cushion. You can sit on YK Kim's face, which we all want to do. We've all dreamed about it. We've all fantasized about it.
Well, in 2005, the most looked up thing on Pornhub in Louisiana, I believe, was YK Kim's face. So.
I mean,
YK Kim cream pie.
Oh, jeez. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No.
If that's your thing, that's your thing. That's okay. Go and enjoy it. You can't have a drink tonight, so go and enjoy that instead. And get back to us in a week's time and tell us how it was.
Listen to me.